You probably think canned foods are harmless pantry staples. They're cheap, quick, and always there when you need them. But let me stop you right here, because what if I told you some of those cans could be quietly tearing your health apart? Hidden inside are shocking levels of sodium, dangerous chemicals like BPA, heavy metals that slowly poison your body, and even bacteria that can thrive for months in storage. For seniors over 50, especially those living with diabetes, this isn't just a minor concern. It's a silent threat that can push your heart into overdrive, overwhelm your kidneys, and even damage your memory. A single can of soup can carry half your entire day's sodium. And studies show more than 60% of diabetics over 50 eventually suffer serious complications when their diet fuels the problem. That's a terrifying statistic. And here's the worst part. Most people don't even realize the risk until it's too late, until they're diagnosed with a serious complication, something we all want to avoid. But don't worry, because today I'm going to walk you through 7 canned foods you must absolutely avoid and reveal the 2 that are actually safe and can protect your health. Stay with me until the end because the final one will completely change the way you look at your pantry. Section 1. You're likely curious about another food that seems soft and easy to eat, but may silently carry heavy metal risks that affect the brain and kidneys over time. That would be canned tuna. Canned tuna has long been a quick and convenient meal in many American households, especially for those looking to save time on cooking. However, beneath the seemingly harmless can lie health risks that those over 50, particularly those managing diabetes, need to approach with caution. The first thing to know is that canned tuna carries a risk of mercury accumulation over time. Albacore tuna, in particular, typically has higher mercury levels than skipjack. And this mercury builds up in the brain and kidneys, harming memory, impairing cognitive function, and increasing the risk of kidney damage. A more serious risk is histamine poisoning, which can occur if the fish is mishandled before canning. A single faulty can could cause symptoms like rashes, headaches, dizziness, or even breathing difficulties. You might think this is rare, but numerous cases have been documented, including major recalls in 2025 related to botulism, a life-threatening illness tied to improperly sealed canned foods. Additionally, in low-sodium products, manufacturers often use potassium chloride as a substitute. While this may seem harmless, excess potassium can cause irregular heart rhythms in those with kidney issues or on diuretics. Furthermore, the can's inner lining often contains BPA or substitutes like BPS and BPF whose long-term safety remains unconfirmed, with studies suggesting potential hormonal disruption. I once had a patient, a 62-year-old man named David, who loved canned tuna sandwiches. He ate them almost daily for lunch. He came to me complaining of persistent headaches and a foggy memory. After running tests, we found elevated mercury levels in his system, which we traced back to his diet. We cut out the canned tuna, and his symptoms slowly started to improve. It was a clear demonstration of how a seemingly benign food can have a serious, cumulative effect. So, how can you enjoy the taste of fish without the health risks? Opt for fresh fish cooked into soups or steamed with minimal salt instead of canned varieties. Fresh fish eliminates the high mercury accumulation and chemical risks from can linings while retaining natural nutrients. A portion of thoroughly cooked fresh fish provides pure protein to maintain muscle mass, support weight control, and keep your body healthier. Pairing fish with greens and seasoning lightly with herbs instead of salt can cut hundreds of milligrams of sodium daily while improving blood sugar control. This is a simple, yet highly sustainable, way to manage diabetes naturally over 50. Now, have you ever noticed another food with a rich aroma, often warmed up on cold days, but packed with hidden salt and preservatives that quietly tire your body over time? That's canned soup. Canned soup was once considered a cultural icon in America, famously immortalized in Andy Warhol's Campbell's Soup Cans artwork. But behind its convenience and familiar image lie hidden dangers that few of us anticipate, especially for those over 50 trying to manage diabetes. A serving of canned soup often contains 480 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Consuming such high sodium levels can spike blood pressure, force the heart to work harder, and overburden the kidneys. For those already managing diabetes, this added strain increases the risk of cardiovascular complications. Additionally, so-called low-sodium soups often use potassium chloride as a substitute. For individuals with kidney issues or those taking diuretics, excess potassium can disrupt heart rhythms, potentially becoming life-threatening. The European Union banned BPA in 2024, but in the US, many products still contain it. This means that by eating canned soup, you and I may still be exposed to these chemicals daily. Botulism, a highly dangerous bacteria, is another risk. If a can is bulging or leaking, it must be discarded immediately, as consuming it could have dire consequences. The CDC has repeatedly warned about this issue, and numerous unfortunate incidents have been reported. Beyond these risks, canned soups often contain additives like modified starch for thickness, sugar to enhance flavor, and phosphates to maintain texture. These ingredients can cause rapid blood sugar spikes, put pressure on the kidneys, and affect bone density. For those over 50 who are already sensitive to metabolic changes, this is a significant burden. Section 2. So, what's the solution for enjoying tasty soup safely? The answer is simple. Make your own soup from fresh vegetables at home. With just a few carrots, celery, onions, and some spinach or broccoli, you can create a naturally sweet soup without needing much salt. For added protein, include chicken breast, white beans, or lentils. When you cook at home, you control the salt content, keeping it to 200 to 300 milligrams per serving instead of the 700 to 1000 milligrams in canned versions. Fresh vegetables also provide fiber, which slows sugar absorption, stabilizing blood sugar and preventing erratic fluctuations. This is a simple, yet effective, way to manage diabetes naturally over 50, saving money while ensuring long-term health. Now, are you curious about a food that looks glossy and bursting with sweet colors, but is actually a sugar trap that leaves your body feeling fatigued? That's canned fruit. Canned fruit has long been seen as a quick and convenient option for many American households. Just pop open a can, and you have a sweet, tempting dessert. But beneath that glossy syrup lies a host of risks that those over 50, especially those managing diabetes, need to approach with caution. A cup of canned fruit in heavy syrup can contain over 40 grams of sugar, equivalent to 10 teaspoons of refined sugar. When this much sugar enters the body, blood sugar spikes, causing fluctuations that are hard to control, directly impacting the effectiveness of diabetes medications and adding strain to the cardiovascular system. I once had a patient, a 58-year-old woman named Susan, who was struggling to get her blood sugar under control despite following her meal plan and medication schedule. She told me she had a healthy snack every afternoon, canned peaches. A can of peaches in heavy syrup seemed harmless to her, but that single serving was causing her blood sugar to soar unexpectedly every day, then crash, leaving her fatigued and dizzy. By simply replacing the canned peaches with fresh or frozen fruit, her blood sugar levels stabilized within a week. Additionally, the can's lining often contains BPA or substitutes like BPS and BPF, which may disrupt hormones. The EU banned BPA in 2024, but in the US, many products still use it, meaning you and I could be ingesting these unwanted chemicals daily. Between 2023 and 2024, several batches of canned fruit were recalled due to contamination with heavy metals like lead and cadmium or even glass fragments. This is clear evidence that these products aren't always safe. Another concern is FD&C Red No. 3, a food coloring still used to make canned fruit visually appealing, which will be banned in the US starting in 2027 due to its link to cancer risk. As you can see, a sweet treat that seems harmless hides more dangers than you might think. So, what's the trick to enjoying delicious fruit without harming your health? The answer lies in smart choices. Opt for canned fruit packed in water or natural juice instead of heavy syrup. These typically contain less than 15 grams of sugar per cup, far lower than the 40 grams in syrup-packed versions, helping stabilize blood sugar. An even better option I always recommend is frozen fruit. Frozen right after picking, it retains most vitamins and minerals without added sugar or additives. For example, a cup of frozen peaches has about 60 calories and 14 grams of carbohydrates while being rich in fiber, which slows sugar absorption. This is a simple, yet effective, way to manage diabetes naturally over 50 that you can start today. Instead of reaching for a can of peaches in syrup, choose frozen peaches, thaw them, and pair with a bit of unsweetened Greek yogurt. The natural sweetness is easy to digest, satisfying your sweet tooth while protecting heart health and improving blood sugar control. A small change like this can make a big difference in your daily life. Now, are you curious about a food that seems humble, soft, and smothered in tomato sauce, but is packed with starch and salt that can quietly tire your body? That's canned pasta. Canned pasta, especially ravioli in tomato sauce, evokes childhood memories for many Americans. However, this seemingly harmless dish is an ultra-processed food that poses significant risks for those over 50, particularly those managing diabetes. An average serving of canned pasta contains 740 to 1,300 milligrams of sodium. Excessive sodium intake can spike blood pressure, overwork the heart, and put heavy strain on the kidneys. For those living with diabetes, this risk is even greater as sodium, combined with fluctuating blood sugar levels, can increase the likelihood of stroke and cardiovascular complications. Notably, many low-sodium products replace sodium with potassium chloride, which is highly dangerous for people with kidney issues, as excess potassium can cause irregular heart rhythms. Section 3. I had a patient, a 65-year-old retired construction worker named Bob, who had been a diabetic for 15 years. He was very routine-oriented and relied on canned ravioli for a quick and easy lunch. His blood pressure was consistently high, and he was taking 3 different medications to manage it. When we looked at his diet, his canned pasta habit stood out. We replaced his canned ravioli with homemade whole-grain pasta and a fresh sauce with vegetables. Within a month, his blood pressure dropped, and we were able to reduce one of his medications. The difference was clear. The high sodium in the can was a major contributor to his health problems. So, how can you enjoy this convenient dish without compromising your health? The answer is to prioritize products packaged in glass jars instead of metal cans. Glass containers don't contain BPA or leaching chemicals, making them safer for your body. Once opened, use within a few days and store in the refrigerator to prevent bacterial growth and preserve natural flavor. If you love ravioli, try making it at home with whole grain pasta, fresh homemade tomato sauce, and vegetables like spinach or mushrooms. When preparing it yourself, you can control the salt content, keeping it safely below 400 milligrams per meal while eliminating added sugars and preservatives. Fresh vegetables also add fiber, which slows sugar absorption, stabilizes blood sugar, and reduces strain on the kidneys and heart. This is a simple, yet effective, way to manage diabetes naturally over 50 that you can start today. Now, are you curious about other canned foods that seem safe but have a shiny appearance that might fool you into thinking they're completely harmless? I'm talking about canned beans. Canned beans are one of the most affordable, nutritious, and heart-healthy foods you can find in any supermarket. For those over 50, especially those managing diabetes, they're a safe and smart choice when used correctly. The first reason canned beans are reliable is the retort sterilization process, which uses temperatures of 240 to 250 degrees. This heat is sufficient to eliminate harmful bacteria, virtually eliminating the risk of botulism, a concern with many other canned foods. Beyond microbiological safety, canned beans are packed with nutrition. A half-cup serving provides 7 to 9 grams of high-quality plant-based protein along with fiber, potassium, iron, and folate. Protein supports healthy muscle mass. Fiber slows sugar absorption to stabilize blood sugar. Potassium helps regulate blood pressure. And iron and folate maintain energy and prevent anemia. For those over 50, this combination is crucial for supporting heart health, digestion, and daily energy. One concern with canned beans is their sodium content, which can reach 400 to 500 milligrams per serving, quite high if consumed straight from the can. The good news is that rinsing beans thoroughly before use can reduce sodium by a third to half. This means instead of 500 milligrams, you're left with about 250 to 300 milligrams, a manageable amount for a daily diet. This simple step is key to maximizing the benefits of canned beans while protecting your heart and kidneys. Another advantage is that many brands now use BPA-free linings, often labeled as BPA-NE on the packaging, reducing concerns about chemical leaching. However, to ensure maximum safety, always inspect cans before buying, avoiding any that are bulging, leaking, or dented. Store them in a cool, dry place at home, and always rinse thoroughly before cooking. With these simple steps, you can turn a convenient food into a safe and nutritious option. I recommend incorporating canned beans into your daily meals. Try black beans in a salad, white beans cooked with vegetables, or red beans in a hearty stew. You'll feel fuller longer, crave sweets less, and notice more stable post-meal blood sugar levels. This is clear proof that small changes can lead to big results in managing diabetes naturally over 50. Now, Have you ever noticed a bright red food often paired with a slightly tangy sauce that seems to just add flavor, but actually comes with several health considerations? I'm talking about canned tomatoes. Canned tomatoes are a staple in American kitchens, known for their tangy flavor and rich antioxidants that benefit health. For those over 50, particularly those striving to manage diabetes, this is one of the few canned foods that can be considered safe and even offers more benefits than you might expect. What sets canned tomatoes apart from many other canned foods is their natural acidity. With a pH below 4.6, tomatoes create an environment where botulism bacteria cannot thrive. And when combined with the high-temperature retort sterilization process, the risk of bacterial contamination is virtually eliminated. But the real star is lycopene, a powerful antioxidant in tomatoes. In canned tomatoes, lycopene is 2 to 3 times more bioavailable than in fresh tomatoes, especially when cooked with a touch of olive oil. Some studies from major universities suggest that lycopene from canned tomatoes has significant anti-inflammatory properties, protects cardiovascular health, and markedly reduces the risk of diabetes complications. This is a major advantage for older adults looking to boost nutrition while effectively managing their health. A can of no salt-added canned tomatoes places almost no sodium burden on the body. Unlike many canned soups or pastas that contain 700 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium, by choosing no salt-added products, you can enjoy the natural flavor without worrying about blood pressure spikes. Many brands now use BPA-free linings, often labeled BPA-free or BPA-NE on the packaging, reducing the risk of chemical leaching. However, you should still read labels carefully to avoid products with added potassium chloride, which can be dangerous for those with kidney issues or taking diuretics. So, how can you maximize the benefits of canned tomatoes? It's simple. Choose crushed or whole tomatoes packed in their own juice without added salt. When cooking, add a small spoonful of olive oil to enhance lycopene absorption. Use them as a base for whole grain pasta sauce, in vegetable soups, or stewed with beans and chicken. Just half a cup of canned tomatoes provides about 17 milligrams of lycopene, a high dose that reduces oxidative stress, supports heart health, and protects blood vessels. This is a small but highly effective tip for managing diabetes naturally over 50, allowing you to control blood sugar naturally while enjoying delicious flavors. Store canned tomatoes in a cool place or, better yet, opt for products in cardboard cartons or glass jars to minimize metal exposure. And remember, once opened, use within a few days to preserve flavor and nutrition. Stop today and rethink your eating habits. Don't wait for complications to strike before regretting it. The information shared in this video not only helps you steer clear of dangerous canned foods, but also highlights 2 truly safe options to protect your health. These aren't empty warnings, but a serious reminder for anyone over 50 working to manage diabetes naturally. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, over 60% of people with diabetes over 50 will develop serious cardiovascular complications if they continue a diet high in sodium, hidden sugars, and toxic additives from canned foods. This translates to a high risk of stroke, kidney failure, or losing the ability to live independently. So, take action today.